Hey everyone, what is going on? My name is RedArcherLive, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Overkill's The Walking Dead. You guys really seemed to like the video I did about Payday 3, so I figured I would wait a bit longer, get some more information and concept arts for the Walking Dead game, and then do a video discussing this as well to see what you guys think about this game coming out. I'm going to have some general information covering everything in the game, and then like I've said, I've got some trailer discussions, some concept art discussions, and also just some things I'd like to see in the game, and maybe things that are worth discussing over. So, as with the last video, anything and everything you hear in this video is up to debate, so please leave some comments down below, let me know what you think about everything I say. But other than that, let's get into this and talk The Walking Dead. So this game was first revealed back in 2015 when a very vague trailer was released by Overkill Software, hinting that they were making a Walking Dead game. Since then, we've had literally no information until December 2017, where on the 10th of December, almost 2 months ago, they put out a big reveal live stream where they finally broke their silence about the game. Unfortunately, it wasn't as much detail as everyone had hoped for, myself included. I was hoping for more details than what they actually did disclose. But regardless, there is a decent amount of stuff here to discuss, so we're going to have an overview look and then get more into specifics as we go on. To start things off, we're going to look at a very brief overview post on the official website for the game, which reads, Overkill's The Walking Dead is a 4-player co-op action FPS, where you and your friends fight the dead as well as the living. Set in the Walking Dead universe, you and your group tries to survive in a post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C. So if you can't spot them already, there's two similarities there to Payday 2. First off, 4-player co-op action FPS, that is the exact same tagline they used for Payday 2. And on top of that, exact same setting as Payday 2 in Washington, D.C. That could be for one of two reasons: A, because they know Washington, D.C. quite well because of Payday 2, or B, because it's different to the actual Walking Dead TV show and other media ventures such as the Telltale Games series, and there's several seasons of that. It's a completely different setting, and therefore they have kind of a bit more creative freedom with the Walking Dead universe, where they can kind of have their own little mini spin-off thing happening, so it doesn't really over and intertwine with Rick Grimes' world, or Lee Everett's world, Clementine's world, all that stuff, or anything else in the comic book. So it's fairly unique, but also it may be a safe bet because they know Washington DC better because of Payday. Could be one or both of those reasons, to be honest. But the second paragraph on this overview is where it gets even more interesting, and it reads, each character has their own special abilities, skill trees, squad roles, playstyles, and story arcs. But teamwork is paramount. The action is close up and intense. You can take out enemies carefully with silent melee attacks, or go in guns blazing with your choice from each class of firearms. You need to be able to improvise, as nothing is certain and a horde of walkers is always right around the corner. I just changed the wording in there because I'm not quite sure. I didn't really read out when I was reading through it, so if I got that wrong, then apologies. But the thing that's interesting here is the very start of that paragraph: special abilities, skill trees, squad roles, playstyle, story arcs. All 5 of those are capitalized. It might just be for the sake of OCD and visual appeal, but that kind of suggests to me that those are going to be like menu options or something, so they're actually quote-unquote called squad roles, special ability, skill trees. That's actually what they're going to be properly called in the game. Like, when you log into Payday 2, you've got your inventory, skills, your perk decks, all that stuff. So that's something to kind of pick out. On top of that, story arcs. So it's not just going to be about surviving, and I'm kind of glad about that because I don't really know how long you could play a game like that without a real story. But it seems like each of the main characters also have their own individual story. So that's something that can play out quite interestingly, and that'll come over to where I talk about gameplay a bit later on, as to what I think they might do and how they might handle it. But it's a very interesting concept. I'm not quite sure how they're going to take it, so, you know, it's something very interesting and sounds promising, but we'll have to see what happens there. And on top of that, we also have confirmation that there will be a choice of loud or stealth for some of the gameplay in The Walking Dead. As with Payday 2, I imagine some of it will be loud only and some of it will be stealth only, but that's just a presumption. It just seems like that's the way they do it, but there is going to be a contrast of both. Not to mention that in this gameplay where you choose stealth or loud, you're also going to be fighting zombies as well as human beings, which, you know, seems to be the recurring theme of The Walking Dead. The zombies are sometimes the least of your worries, which, you know, it's going to be interesting. Some of those things will probably intertwine with story arcs, and there might be people, kind of bad blood and kind of stories like that that intertwine with one another, and kind of, I keep saying intertwine, but kind of, you know, focusing more on less the zombie fighting and more trying to survive against humans, because that seems to be the way at least the TV series has gone at the moment. It seems to be focusing more on kind of human interaction than zombie interaction. But at least that's the way I see it and the way I think they could handle it, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. You might have a few story arcs that are more zombie-based and a few more that are more human-based. It's really interesting, it's really up in the air, and it could play out any way we like. But that is literally the overview. Another interesting thing to note off this website is if you look at the very, very top, where there's kind of a cover photo of 4 people and a zombie on either side, which I think is a reflection. If you hover over the first character of the 4, everything else fades to black, And that photo, I'm not sure whether it gets stronger, but it's just left sat there on its own. And you can click on it, and it will also take you down to a link to the trailer for that character, who is called Aiden. This is the trailer that went live with the reveal on the 10th of December in 2017. It's the only trailer we have up to now, but the fact that they've done that kind of style where you hover over, everyone else fades out, you can click on it, that suggests to me like there's going to be a trailer for each individual character before the game launches. And maybe this is a bit of a stretch, but it might do. There might be a more general gameplay link by clicking on the zombie. It might show you more about the zombies themselves, different classes of zombies maybe. I know a lot of zombie games tend to have, you know, more than just the standard shambling zombie. You have like fat zombies and screaming zombies and all sorts like that. Personally, I like a good simple zombie shooter, but I've been playing games in the past like Resident Evil 6 where there's like big mixes of enemies, and it can be quite interesting, so that might be something they also do, but I think it's extremely likely we'll see a trailer for each character as we go along. But the only one we have up to now is Aiden, and that's what I want to talk about next. This trailer is not gameplay. That's the thing I want to highlight the most. It is not a gameplay trailer. The graphics will no doubt not be as good as that, because even with any game, cinematic trailers are better than the actual gameplay. So that's something to really bear in mind when you take this forward. But his actual trailer looks rather promising in the fact that it just gives you a good vibe. And I know a vibe isn't something that you really take into account with a trailer when you say, this is why I'm buying a game. But when you don't have as much information the way that we don't now with the game, you've got to rely on a lot more than just, oh look, that gameplay is great, because we don't have gameplay to talk about. And I honestly really like the way the trailer was split half and half between before the zombie apocalypse and afterwards, and the way that the art and the cinematics have been done around the White House. I very much hope they do this with all the characters, because I think it's very good to have kind of a bit of background on characters. If you ever played Telltale's The Walking Dead, then there is kind of a bit of a past to the main character that you play as Lee, and that actually does have an impact on the story going forward, and it makes it a lot more interesting. It's a lot more kind of three-dimensional rather than just basic, oh, let's survive, let's not die, zombies are coming, run, shoot them, kind of thing. There's more of a kind of emotion to it, there's more of a feel, more of a story to it, and that can really have an impact. And especially in a game like this, having background and having story will make the hell of a difference, especially with the story arcs that we've already mentioned and discussed. But now we're going to move on to my main source of information for this, or at least for concept arts, etc., which is called the press kit. And if you go on Overkill The Walking Dead website, there is a link at the very top to get the press kit. Basically takes you to a Dropbox webpage where you can download a bunch of folders on all different games, not just The Walking Dead. You can look at Payday 2 and so on and so forth, but there's actually some very interesting files for The Walking Dead, and that's where I've pulled a few things out. The thing to note, most interestingly, is that they put a press release in there, pretty much the exact same thing they've said on the website, and then also we've got 5 concept arts. Now that's slightly out of date, they haven't quite updated it, I'm checking it now, but on their Instagram page for Overkill The Walking Dead there is a 6th concept art. Our first picture is called Restaurant, showing us more of a kind of dilapidated restaurant, quite quiet as well, no zombies around, but it gives a good feel for what the actual kind of town you're going to be in, or at least Washington in general, is going to look like. Gives you a good feel for, you know, how much time has passed since the apocalypse started. Obviously, because there aren't loads of humans running around in here, it gives you the vibe that there's been at least a decent amount of time since the zombies took over, which is also backed up by the trailer with Aiden walking along past the White House and it literally being deserted, apart from zombies and old cars. The next photo is called Underpass Fan Room. Another bit of concept art, but this one is a little bit more graphical, because as we can see there's a few bodies and body parts surrounding that fan towards the right of the picture. So obviously suggests there's been some kind of zombie encounter going on here. And the thing to remember that everything they include here in concept art is no doubt going to be stuff we'll see in the game. So it's another very interesting concept to be able to go underground and explore kind of underground sewer tunnels, maybe train lines, stuff like that. Again, a comparison to Resident Evil 6, that really went across loads of different terrains and stuff like that. And other zombie games have done that too, like State of Decay, stuff like that, where you kind of explore and you go through different scenarios. So it's good to see a mix here. Now here's the really interesting thing. The next photo is called Lincoln, simply Lincoln. Now I'm looking at it and I'm seeing a character here with white hands holding a machete, and I'm thinking maybe the character's called Lincoln. That could be to do with the actual character in the game who's in the cover photo I talked about on the website, the guy with the white beard and he has a beanie. Or I'm pretty sure that's the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. I might be wrong, I don't know my American culture that well, but I'm thinking that is what it is. And if that's the case, that could be like a double-edged sword. It could be the character's called Lincoln and they're at the Lincoln Memorial. Could be that it's one or the other. I could have got my American culture completely wrong. If I am, please don't kill me. Or it could just be that it's neither. Who knows? I don't know. But probably should have looked that up before this video, but either way, I'm just going to leave it guessing because I don't know everything. I'm not going to pretend to know everything. And then the next photo is called Underpass. Looking from the sign over the main entrance, it says Meat Locker, which suggests perhaps walkers were being held there at some point and possibly got released. But as you can see now, there's a few people walking around with flashlights who I don't really think are the playable characters. They could possibly be the humans that you have to interact with during the game, or some of the people that are quote-unquote just as dangerous as the dead kind of thing. So it's a very interesting place to look. And actually, if you look further past the meat locker sign, you can see there's some covers over one of the underpass kind of bridge areas, which suggests maybe there could be a safe house there as well. Could be where someone set up camp. It could be a very interesting place to explore and possibly loot. It really depends very much on how they handle the whole looting system, because Payday 2 doesn't have that. You really just pick up a bit of jewelry or throw bags around. But I feel like here there's going to be so much more reliance on resources like food, water, ammo, stuff like that. It's not going to be just, I need a medic bag, and you drop it and you heal it up. There's going to be a lot more kind of depth to it, or at least that's what I'm hoping. So perhaps you'll be able to loot stuff from places like this meat locker. Really up for debate. I don't quite know how it's going to work, but that's something to keep in mind. And then finally we have Tunnel, which I think is connected to the fan room. It just seems from colour schemes they'd be connected maybe off screen, or there's a path to get from A to B there. Just seems quite similar. Looks quite quiet apart from the cars coming through. And also I'm thinking by that pillar, I think that might be a dead body there where there's a bit of blue. Not quite sure. It's hard to tell from where I'm looking at it, but it's another interesting one. Perhaps somewhere else to explore. Perhaps you enter through that hole in the floor and then you go to the fan room through that direction. Possibly. I don't really know. But that's all the photos in the press kit. There is one more now, which has been added to their Instagram, which hasn't been added yet to the press kit, so I don't know what the name of it is. But the caption on the photo is, "You can't stay inside the camp forever." And looking from this photo, it does look like some kind of military camp or some kind of safe house. So it might be where some of the characters are based, or perhaps even one or two. Maybe the 4 characters come together in the middle of their story arcs, and that's how they meet each other. Maybe they don't know each other from the start. So it could very much be kind of one person's safe house, could be all of them. We don't really know. But it looks like an interesting place, and it's probably somewhere good to set up shop in this this game we're going to be playing. So something to keep in mind. So now we've looked at all the concept arts, we're going to move on to release dates and some more rumours and just kind of talk more about what I'd like to see in the game. First off, we know the game is coming in fall 2018, so obviously if you know your seasons, that's going to be between September and November in 2018. It could be any of those months there. They could go for an earlier release and go somewhere similar to Payday 2, because that released in August 2013, go for a September-ish release, or they might give it a bit more time to give a bit more glaze over the game and release it more towards the November mark. It's coming, it'll be before Christmas, it's just somewhere around that area. But beyond that, we're pretty short on information, so here's where I kind of give my pointers as to what I'd like to see in this game. First off, the thing that troubles me, especially going back to what it said in the paragraphs on the website, is that every character has their own skill trees. Now, if that's similar to Raid World War II, where you have your own kind of skill set depending on what class you pick, I honestly have to admit, I don't want to see that again. I like Payday 2's skill set because you literally have a set amount of skills, and there are literally millions and millions of combinations of stuff you could put together. You can go for specific skill trees, you can mix and match, you can do whatever the hell you like, and there's no restrictions because you picked this class at the start of the game. Because especially in Rage, you can't change the kind of class that you pick at the start of the game. Once you've picked it, that's it. You're done. You're kind of in trouble if you want to change it, unless you make a new character. So I don't want them to go down that route where they're trying to be so different with each character that you literally go too far and don't customize too much. I like to have general options like Payday 2, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that. But other than that, the thing that I want to consider here, and this is the main point of debate, is how is the game actually going to work? What I mean by that is, how are the actual day-to-day missions going to work in this game? Are they going to go for a Payday 2 style where you know what job you're loading up when you start? Or are we going to have free roam? Now, I'm very skeptical about saying free roam in a game that's made by Overkill. It's made by someone who makes Payday games, who's influenced Raid World War II. Who's influenced all sorts of games like that where you basically know what you're doing when you go straight into it and then take it from there. The thing to consider, though, is another comparison to Raid World War II is that Raid World War II does have some form of open world gameplay. Not completely, but some. There is a different mode you can play other than the main raids. Can't remember what it's called. It might have been Operations. I'm not sure. I haven't played the game much, and I don't really think people will judge me for it. But there are a few unique missions where instead of loading up actual raid to play, the door to the safe house opens and you can go out and wander and do stuff and look for your objective, and you can drive around, go find things. So that is a really interesting concept, and if they can bring that into The Walking Dead and expand on it so that you perhaps travel to all your missions, maybe some areas are locked off and exclusive to certain missions and you have to start that mission to go in that area. But if there is kind of free roam between it and you can just, walk along and slash a couple of zombies on your way, that would work really well. It'd be better than the kind of fixed Payday 2 attitude, because with Payday you would presume that with most jobs being driven to the location before you actually spawn in, you're not going to be driving in The Walking Dead. Or at least if you are, it's not going to be all the time. You haven't got enough fuel to do that. You just drive from A to B when you have the gas in the car that works, which isn't all the time, as we all will probably know, or at least assume. The ability and the knowledge that you would have to walk to your locations, I would like that to be given to us and get us to actually have to do it. Perhaps if we've done the mission before, it could say, you have the option to skip this journey if you'd like to go straight and replay this mission, which, would be quite good, like a trip skip in GTA. or you could just keep doing it, just keep having to walk and keep searching, and it would encourage you to explore and find resources. And again, if they have the resources in the game, this is where things will get interesting, because you have to compete. Do you want to risk your teammates' lives just to get this extra bit of food? Do you want to try and save some people who are living in your camp who are running low on water by trying to risk going into this building that could be full of zombies? They add that kind of almost choice-based element where you can kind of choose how far you go. It's a very kind of revolutionary thing. There's a very specific type of game studio that does that, like Telltale Games, and obviously you've got Don't Know who did Life is Strange. There's certain game types, game companies that will go in that direction and kind of run with it and have fun with that kind of element. But games like Payday 2 don't tend to have that as much. It's more just RNG, where they give you a random customization of what happens in the heist in Payday 2. So for instance, oh, this spawns here, you grab the jewelry bag from here. Oh, right, this time it's across the street, go get it from there this time. Adds a bit more flavour. But if they can take that and add it a bit more and give you more choice as well, that can make it really interesting. So I'd really like to see how they kind of handle the exploration, because the idea of hiding from zombies in a very fixed location, then it going, oh, mission complete, that's the end of the game, breaks the immersion. And in a game like Payday 2, the immersion doesn't matter to that extent, because you're only feeling what it's like to do the heist itself. You're not really playing the game to sit in a van, loading your gun and go, alright guys, who's ready to rob a bank? And then 10 minutes of silence while you kind of just drive. In this game, you want to feel like you're in it 24/7. You want to get the zombie feel, you want to get the apocalypse feel. You want to feel like the game is completely engulfing you and that you're not being pulled out for the sake of, oh, a loading screen. Oh, I'll just sit here and wait. What do I do now? Kind of thing. So once you're out of that main menu, I expect to be in the game and perhaps in the safe house walk up to certain areas to handle my inventory, my skills, like Raid World War II. Again, see, Raid World War II got a lot of slack. There's a few things here that I'm comparing that actually are decent features. In the safe house, you can just walk up to certain desks and you'll pick your skills, your loadout, all that stuff. So if they can incorporate that into a safe house or a safe location, that'd be something else to consider. But beyond that, in terms of missions, I don't know what else to say other than it's good that we can have some stealth and some loud. Perhaps there can be a preference towards whether you deal with human missions or zombie missions. Personally, I'd go for zombie ones, just because I like the element of facing humans in the game who are, you know, a lot more fearsome than the zombies, but sometimes I feel like people lose focus and you focus too much on fighting actual human enemies and you forget that you're in a zombie apocalypse, and I like to kind of keep it grounded, and I like zombie games, so that's just something I want to keep an eye out for. But other than that, other features such as special abilities, skill trees, squad roles, and playstyles, they're very much up to debate, as well as the story arcs, to be honest. So it's really kind of, we have to sit now and wait. And I want to do this video, I did kind of think about leaving it a little bit, trying to wait for more information, but I honestly don't know what's going to come and when it's going to come. I know they said they'll release information as soon as they have it, but it sounds pretty much like Payday 2 on a console. You'll just know when you know. They're not really going to give you a heads up. It'll just be, here's a bit more information, enjoy. And I presume Overkill will keep dropping more concept arts. If you look at the post dates on their Instagram page, you got 6 days ago, you got January 10th, you got December 28th. It's kind of seems more like every week or every other week kind of thing. So perhaps possibly just keep an eye out on their social pages, see when they post more concept arts. And also, if you haven't checked out the press kit, do check it out. It's where I've got most of my information from. I'll leave a link to The Walking Dead's website, I'll leave a link to their Instagram page, I'll leave a link to the Dropbox kit, all down in the description below so you can check out all this stuff for yourself. But other than that, when there's more news, I will report on it if you guys want to see it. So, thank you all very much for watching this discussion video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. I'm very sorry that there isn't a lot more information to go on, so it is pretty much the rumour mill. But it's just like the Payday 3 video, and I know you guys did appreciate that, or a lot of you did, because it's just kind of getting the hype up, and I like to kind of discuss things and see what you guys think. So, as always, if you've got a thought on even the tiniest thing that I've said in this video, leave a comment down below, and I'd love to talk to you about what you think. So, and if you have any downsides or any negative things about this video, please post them constructively. I've had a few comments recently of people just kind of taking the mick completely and just saying it was a terrible video and not really saying anything beneficial. If you do that, I'm going to delete your comment. Or either that, I'll reply to you and just say, in the future, be constructive. I don't want to have on this community people who are just overly negative and don't really have a flip side to it. If you think the video is bad, that's cool. That's completely up to you. If you don't enjoy it, I totally understand it. It's not for everyone. But if you have a way to improve it, please do tell me. Don't just keep it to yourself. Because I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always open to changes. A lot of my video ideas are suggested by you guys, so I'm always keeping an eye out, keeping an ear out for what you have to say. Other than that, I will see you all down in the comments section. Again, do leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you are new. Other than that, thank you all very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.